Hello, hello, hello. My name is Mpho Taole and I am your host. Join me as we discover all things life and all things godliness. It is sure to be exciting, so come along for the ride. All right. Hi, Becca. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Paul. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm so excited.
It's a pleasure. I'm very excited to have you because I know what we're going to talk about. You are actually one of the first people that came to mind when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do a topic on vision. I was like, Becca, yes, she's the chosen one. So can you
Yay.
just tell the viewers and listeners a bit about yourself?
All right, so I am a coach. I'm also a learning and development consultant, and my background is actually in IT. And I was working as a leader, manager in IT companies. And so part of it, my passion grew for people, managing
Mm,
people. So I'm one person who loves working with people. I love seeing people grow and unlock their potential and their talents and express them freely in whatever they do. And I'm a
mhm.
mother of three boys. They're actually young men now, but mother of three. And also an author. I wrote a book called She Keeps Rising, which is really a narrative of for women, and which
Mm,
is poetry with reflective journaling exercises in it, just to
mm.
help people along their journey. So I think basically a lot about me is just about working with people, encouraging people, and supporting people with their dreams and their vision for their
Mm.
lives.
All right. That's very, packed and interesting. So we know that we're gonna get really good meat from you. So I think when I thought about visioning and vision boards and stuff like that, I thought of you because I've seen you practically give people tools and practically just work with people with regards to how to go about it. Can you just tell us a bit about your journey that kind of got you into um, practically making vision boards and stuff like that?
All right. So I think it actually started when I was younger. I used to write, books, and most of us in school obviously would scrapbook. Maybe at high school, people would just write stories. If you see a star that you like, and you write this story about how one day they'll meet you. So we daydream, right? So I think it
Mhm.
starts in all of us at an early age. And then we make a list of things that we want to do. And then gradually I would do that for work. I'd make that as part of my development plan, and to make a list which was specific and would set goals as well. And
Mm,
then, but when I finally actually started using it more intentionally, I would say with more visuals, was when I experienced divorce. And during that time, I was a little bit lost. Actually, I was so lost. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know where I was
yeah.
going, because my life and my dreams were, wrapped up in that relationship and the title
Mm,
called marriage. And so at that time, I went for counseling, and this one lady, she is an elderly lady who was very wise, and she just, said she did a vision board when she had gone through her divorce, and so she really had to reimagine her future and say, who am I?
mm,
What do I want? Where am I going? And what does God say about me? And
yeah.
in doing so, then I started, writing down the vision, and again, those scriptures that remind us about what God expects of us. And then I worked that with my sons as well, and I would tell them, the family structure might be different, and but we all have a goal and a dream about who we're supposed to be. And
Mm,
so let's write that down. Let's encourage each other. Let's pray for each other. And the Bible says, without vision, my people will perish. And I
yeah.
know that I felt like my life was over because I
Yeah.
didn't have a vision for myself. I had a vision for the marriage and the family, but nothing for myself. And what if that other person is not there? Who are you? Where are you going? And
Mm,
that's what got me started on the vision board. It was a personal journey, And because I also do a lot of leadership development, it is a tool
Yeah.
that's common. So it's not like I came up with it, but it's really a tool that I find that is very effective for many people because we are visual in the way we dream, in the way we see
Yeah.
things, and the way we remember information. So
Yeah.
definitely helped me a lot.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned about how you kind of like felt lost and didn't know who you are. So, how important is it for a person to kind of like know who they are before they start, creating a vision for themselves?
I think actually it's a tool that helps you discover who you are. Because sometimes there are things that we might know ourselves in different roles. So part of who I am is not necessarily my titles, like when I gave my introduction as to,
Mm-hmm.
the different work that I've done. But really, like when I look at myself personally, I needed to unpack that. And if there are layers of it, it's like an onion when you peel one layer to another and it's a journey of discovery. So you might not know. So many people actually struggle with that activity of being a vision board because they think that, they don't know who they are. And then the other part is like, I know who I am. Why do I even need to do a vision board?
Oh,
I think, yeah, because what's so complicated about planning my goals and envisioning my future. So, but there is a science behind it. Number one, I think even when neurologists, when they looked at people's brains, they thought that people stopped growing or understanding information or learning new things when they're at a certain age. And then they found out, like, no, wait a minute, no matter who you are, you can continue to develop skills of learning. You can still acquire new skills. So basically, if I say I know myself, but I didn't know I had a gift of painting, but maybe by the time I'm 40, maybe that's when I discover that gift. So there's a lot of still unpacking that we do. So I think it's twofold. You might know yourself. The main thing is try not to compare yourself with other people when you are doing the vision board. Because when you're comparing yourself, then you do end up writing things that are not you. You're writing things that you feel other people want. So part of knowing yourself is being honest, and I always pick three questions that I start off with. I would say, where are you right now? Emotionally, mentally, physically. Where do you find yourself? And you start from there. Because if you know that, okay, I'm in a place where I feel um, I don't have clarity. So where do you want to go? I want to be in a place where I do have clarity. Okay, so that's a start. And what does clarity look like to you? What does it feel like to have clarity? They already are starting to write that vision down on that note. Or whether it's your physical wellness, or well-being, you might say, right now I don't feel healthy, or I am healthy, but I can do better. I want to be my optimum best because I'm
Yes.
applying for a job that's more grueling. Maybe school's going to be more stressful. So where do I want to go? I want to go to a place where I find it like I've got a routine. I'm eating healthier. So then how do I get there? So already you can now start writing the vision for your health and wellness goals. So that's how I normally see it, because I think we all don't do anything because we feel like I still need to find who I am. But
Yeah.
the tool is actually helps you to uncover who you are.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that is amazing, actually. So how important is it for us to see the vision, right? Because sometimes you'll find people who will say, I know my vision and stuff like that. And so like doing everything towards achieving my vision and my goals and stuff like that. But then we have these tools such as vision boards where we get to sort of like see our vision, So how important is it for us to be able to see the vision in front of us?
I think when they say seeing is believing, right? So and then we say, we don't walk by, by sight, but by faith. But that faith has eyes to see, right? That faith actually says, when I can imagine myself healed. If you're a person that's dealing with an ailment, and even Abraham, when God was talking to Abraham, he said, okay, go outside and look at the stars. I want you to count each star, you know. So and then God was using an analogy of stars to the number of children that he was going to have, and saying this
Wow.
is the
Yeah.
number of his descendants. So God is very visual. You know, if you look at the sky, the colors, if you look at nature, it's very visual. So even when we're sleeping physically with our eyes closed, and I say, "Oh, I dreamt yesterday of something," it's very
Mm.
visual, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is that power of that gift we've actually been given by God of visualization. So it's important to
Mm.
see. And then number two, to take that and then maybe taking it and putting it into word form. And when you do
Mm.
it in word form, maybe using a pen and writing it down. Psychologists and neurologists have actually done studies where they know that when you're doing the exercise of imagining something in your mind, putting it on paper, and then your eyes seeing it and absorbing it again, there's that process of almost like receiving the information more than once. So
Yeah.
yeah, so you're actually like reaffirming whatever that is. That's why, writing it down is so important. It helps you to acknowledge that that's something you desire. It's also, I always call it checking in with yourself. It's
Mm.
literally, just carving out all the noise and the busyness and just saying, let's just sit down and have a chat, heart to heart, me
Yeah.
with me, and then hear what those dreams are. Some of them are dreams from when you were a kid, and then you
Mm.
remember. Maybe it's something that people keep saying about you and say, oh, you should do this. And you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
and so, yeah. So writing down is so important. Even businesses, like I used to I used to be part of a competition for entrepreneurs. And part of that work was to go through business plans of individuals. And these were young entrepreneurs. And you go through stacks of files and read through them. And many times, when I was reading them, some of those businesses sounded so real and tangible. I would think,
Mm.
okay, this person has actually been running this business for years, but they're saying it's still an idea.
Oh, wow.
So the power of writing things down is putting the plan into place as well. So that's another benefit. So if you think of building a house, an architect will draw the plan. So the same
Mm.
thing with your strategy for your life. You also want to see the plan on
Mm.
paper and then see what you can change, tweak, improve, solidify. And then once it becomes a reality, it's because that you've seen it in your mind, you've written it down. And the Bible
Mm.
even says also write the vision down and make it clear. So
Yeah.
make it clear for yourself, and whoever you communicate it to, it becomes clear to them. People who come around you to support that vision see
Yes.
that it's a clear vision because they've seen you being consistent in what you're
Mm.
trying to get at. And I've seen it in my own personal life when I've, imagined something, written it down, and then worked towards it. It's become a reality. Yeah, even work. I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. One time I said, I joined the company, and there was a position that I got, and I just saw around, it's like, oh, I want to be an executive, I really want to like lead other leaders. And
Yeah.
with my frame, I'm petite and soft spoken. So it was really like the opposite of what people would expect of me, right?
Mm.
And also stereotypically they would say, nah, you don't fit the part. But deep down in my heart, I really sensed that, there was more work for me to do to be influential, to help make
Mm.
a difference, and to help develop the leaders. And I wrote it down as a goal. And I said to myself, okay, 4 years, sounds very practical and reasonable and
Wow.
conservative. 4
Mm.
years, okay, 4 years, I should aim to be in one of those roles. And then I also looked at the job positions, which said, okay, if you are a senior manager, managers, then what kind of skills do you need? So I noticed the skills
Yeah.
gaps that I had, and I put down 2 courses that I knew I needed to do in order to at least, boost up my skill set. And
Mm.
I covered that and I completed that within the first year. So now the second year, a job opportunity opened up. I applied for it. I was interviewed, but I was hoping it was just a practice run. And then the next thing I heard, like, okay, Rebecca, you qualified. You actually, I did everybody, you got the job. I'm like, no, I have to
Not
be
yet.
here. I don't think I'm ready yet.
Mm.
And so there's power in writing something down because I had a clear goal and I was working towards it. But then when it happened, God accelerated I would say the manifestation of that dream. And when
Mhm.
it happened, then I was shocked, So God will always do above and beyond what you ever ask
Yes.
for, and in its
Yeah.
time. And then they sometimes also write some things down and they don't happen. So even
Mhm.
writing it down does not mean exactly that it will all happen. There's sometimes delays, and there's sometimes where it's a different road that you need to take and find out what you think it is. And this the part of self-discovery again, that journey of, oh, okay, I thought I wanted this, but this has led me to another path.
Mm. Oh, wow. That's really amazing. Because I know, so I'll share a little bit of my story with vision boards.
Mhm.
I think there was a certain thing that I was watching with my mom. I think I was in high school or in varsity, I can't remember. And then I was like, yes, I'm gonna create a vision board. And so then I created it. But um, I like to think because I didn't believe in what I had written, or the fact that I couldn't achieve what I thought I couldn't achieve what I had written down. What I did was I rolled it up on my vision board and then I put it away and never to look at it again. So have you ever had a client similar to me where, they don't actually put out the vision boards because they have certain limitations that they have in their minds, like, oh, this is too big of a dream, I can't achieve it, or they're just like expecting, just because I've put it down, I've made the vision plain as you were, but they don't really have things written down on how they're going to achieve it. They're just like, I created the vision board, I just expect the vision board to come alive by itself. Can you share a story of someone that you've encountered where such a thing happened and then they were kind of disappointed when they didn't reach the goals that they thought they would?
Absolutely. I think so. Sometimes also we surprise ourselves. So a vision board, number one, sometimes helps you to put the goal down to say, okay, this is what I want to achieve. Sometimes it's also saying, I did put it down 4 years ago, but I didn't do it. And subconsciously you remember it, and then you keep on putting it back again on the vision board. And so some people don't necessarily give up. They just feel like, oh, okay, let me put another year. Like for me personally, I put like my being an author. That was like way back, and every year it would roll over into the next year. And I say, I'm going to write books. I'm going to write books, and I put author. And then the 2020 during lockdown, I said, okay, Rebecca, this thing you've been putting it down every year. We're going to make it happen. So I got an accountability team where I would say, okay, guys, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And then they'll say, okay, where are you now? And I thought I actually picked deliberately a male individual to say, okay, you are the brother that's going to keep me accountable. Because sometimes with my girlfriends will be like, yeah, girl, it took your time. So I think that was another thing. So sometimes you also need that challenger in your life. And then I've
Yeah.
also coached some individuals where they come to a vision board session that I'll facilitate, and they go home and then they call me like 2 weeks later and say, Rebecca, I think I'm going to throw my vision board away because who am I kidding? This feels like it's overwhelming. I think
Oh, wow.
I'm just exaggerating what I think I want. I just feel it's never going to happen. And then one lady specifically, she had written she wanted to work in Africa, in other African countries, I mean. And so she put it down, she put a little map of Africa, and then there was a project that ended up leading her to, Ivory Coast. And she ended up going there, but she actually was the one I sat with, and she said, I don't even want to look at the vision board. It doesn't make sense. And
Oh,
then just last week, I had a session with another lady. She had come to the 2020 vision board workshop before the
wow.
lockdown.
Yeah.
And when she attended that one, she put down so many things. And I said, okay, when we do our accountability session, bring your vision board. So this is 2022 now. And she brought her vision board. Said, Rebecca, actually, it was stuck somewhere. I couldn't remember where I put it because I was like, oh. But when we went through it, and then now we're like exploring, she actually completed 90% of what was on the vision board,
Oh,
which was so
wow.
cool. Yeah. So sometimes, obviously, the vision board is there to remind you But what we're saying is that it's a tool that reaffirms what's in your heart, right? Then
Yeah.
there's also wishful thinking. So wishful thinking is like, I just wish, if wishes, can
Yeah.
build castles in our minds. So definitely that's when some things don't come true because you were just wishing. You were not committed to it. It wasn't part of you. It's not been resonating with you. So yeah, and then it just goes away. So imagine people are still successful without a vision board. So it doesn't mean that, yeah, so putting the vision board away and hiding it doesn't take away the ability for you to realize your dreams. But it's just a tool that just kind of like stays in front of you and causes you to be more intentional, to
Yeah.
recognize opportunities. Because if they always say when you look at the visual images and the words and the quotes, then my brain subconsciously starts looking for those things to happen. It starts looking out for it. So the same thing if I buy a yellow car and I drive it, for some reason my brain starts noticing, my eyes start noticing more
All
yellow
these
cars.
yellow cars in the world. There's so many of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, there's so many people cars. Or if I'm thinking of a business, maybe I want to make earrings, for example. When I do my research, I'm going to notice too many people doing, the jewelry business, and then that could discourage me because now because I started focusing on it, those things will start popping up, and I will recognize them. So the same thing with vision. When you start recognizing opportunities that are put before you, you put yourself out there and apply for that job because it speaks to what you're believing for.
Okay, so speaking of discouragement, what have you found, in your coaching and stuff like that? What thing have you found that kind of hinders our vision or causes us to limit ourselves as individuals in terms of, just living out our vision, giving ourselves permission to live out that vision that we want?
Oh, that's such a good question. Because something, number one, it's that imposter syndrome. Because many people feel like, okay, where am I fitting? I don't belong here. I'm not, people are going to think I'm a fraud because I don't have all the qualifications.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, working for an IT company, I'm not like coding, programming, geek, So you just have to get to a point where you, number one, accept yourself fully, full acceptance of who you are and who God called you to be and the way He created you to say, you are petite, you are tall, you are loud, or you are quiet, but, come with everything that you are, as an offering, to serve God and to your community. Like for me personally, what helped me a lot was, studying, learning. So the more I would learn, and then I get that little certificate, or I learned, I might not get a certificate from it, but the more I understand the topic and sharpen my skill, the more confident I would be. That even if I got a rejection, I wouldn't be too discouraged because I would know that, okay, I'm still getting better. I'm going to find a way to still get there. Maybe it's not my turn yet. And then you find a way to win. So discouragement definitely is, it is a reality because many of us, when we get through too many rejections, and we get too many, letdowns, we actually give up. And it's normal as a human response. However, we can't stay a victim. Feel the pain, feel the disappointment, cry if you have to, throw your toys out the cart, and then pick yourself up again and try again. And I think the whole point is, God has called us to be more than conquerors. And so you can become a victor and not a victim. See yourself, better, not bitter. See yourself, just continue to win. And I think momentum as well is built by trying, even if you fail, chipping away at it slowly and surely. So rejection will come. It doesn't feel good. It sucks, and you will want to give up. But look at people who've also been disappointed. I like to watch, documentary of old, stars and, not necessarily celebrities, even local you know, people, ordinary people who are speaking about their triumphs in life. That encourages me because many times behind the backdrop of that rejection, they're able to get up again and keep going forward. And that will inspire me. So if you get rejected or you feel disappointed and discouraged, try to listen and surround yourself with positive people, people who've gone through tough times and have overcome. And then you can be able to be inspired by that.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And I also, I love that you mentioned momentum building, because some of us, you know, when you have that vision board, you're like, yes, I want a mansion, right? You expect like next week the mansion should be here or right now, you know. And so it's kind of like, yes, you're on my vision board. You have to be there. You know, you're in my vision. You're part of my goals. You have to come now, mention. You know, but I love that you mentioned that some things take time and they take momentum, and I think it's such a refreshing way of thinking, because it's not saying, you know, this rejection is kind of like a closed door. It's sort of like, okay, just build on what you already have. Because I think a lot of us, when rejection comes, we become so disappointed that we dwell in that disappointment, which is the victim mentality that you mentioned. Whereas if we start realizing that, oh, okay, I thought it was going to go this way, but it didn't go that way. But I've learned in this process that if I go left, then it's going to fail. So maybe let's go right, you know? So if we view sort of like our disappointments in that manner, I think it will be, we will achieve more, you know? So I love that. So what if now I'm a person that says, okay, my vision, I don't even know what my vision is right now, but you know, I've seen different people who they started from the bottom, if you will, and then they started building, and now they're living a life that I one day want to live. How would you encourage them in terms of, you know, just seeking out that vision?
All right. So I think, you know, for someone who's just starting, I'd say sit down and just allow yourself to think through what you want and why you want it. Because I think also having a vision is more about the kind of experiences you want to have in life. So yes, you might be rich, but you won't experience life, you know, work-life balance in that essence. So it's time consuming. So you can't build lasting relationships because you got to travel the time. I don't know what the case might be. So I think it's always asking yourself questions like, okay, if I wanted that, like whoever, maybe I want to be an artist, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur, why do I want it? And then when you ask yourself again, deeper than that is to say, who will benefit if I accomplish this goal? You know, is it my family, my community? Because whatever that vision is, it needs to be beyond you. It should outlive you, right? And it shouldn't be just about consumption and saying, I need to show people that I'm, you know, big and bad, whatever. And I'm one of the big boys, you know. So it's really saying, okay, and if I do that, also, how will I grow as a person? You know, how will I develop as a person? And that's where that term of becoming, you know, comes into play to say, okay, by achieving this goal, who am I becoming along that journey? Because one thing I've discovered is like, you know, the mansion is actually not necessarily what you want, because maybe you don't have children. You don't have many relatives around who want to live with you in your mansion. So it's just you by yourself, and somehow you want a big old mansion, right?
Oh, Lord.
So maybe So ultimately, maybe that could be a 10-year, 12-year goal to have the mansion. Fine, so put it down. But in the meantime, can you pay rent for your studio apartment? Can you pay rent for your 2-bedroom apartment? Can you pay rent for your 3-bedroom apartment? If you can't, then maybe let's take it back a notch. So there's nothing wrong with the mansion. So put that as a peg as to where you want to start, and then backtrack. So you say, okay, before I get the mansion, what kind of house should I have? And, you know, maybe it's going to be like a 3-bedroom house. Okay, great. What kind of neighborhood? Okay, have I even looked at those neighborhoods to see how much those houses cost? And then based on that, go on home shows. That's part of visualization. Go
Yeah.
and look at homes, look at the $1 million homes, million rand homes, and you'll
Yeah.
see what you're not missing out on, or what you're missing out on,
Yeah.
or what you're dreaming to achieve one day. And then
Mhm.
now when you're talking to the real estate agent, they can tell you, okay, this is how much it costs and this how much is needed for deposit. And then that will now lead you to start having a vision for your finances to say, okay,
Mhm.
how's my credit? Can I afford a deposit? And
Yeah.
technically they're saying this is how much I can pay monthly, but with the additional cost of electricity, of water, of the rates, of the levies, can I even afford it? So you might find yourself that you know, your head is above water, or the water is above your head, and you can't manage those bills. So take it back again and say, okay, what kind of job do I need? That'll take you to your
Mhm.
vision, to your kind of career and business goals and
Mm.
your target to say, okay, I want to do sales so I can get bonuses and commission. That'll give me a boost on my salary. Or I enjoy working in my simple job, and
Yeah.
I like the peace that I have. So I need to maybe have a side job, business, maybe a side
Mm.
business to have an extra income, because definitely from my job, it's not going to come from there. And then you do that. So now you strategize and you start, becoming an entrepreneur, right? In
Yeah.
the process of wanting that big mansion. So the mansion could be the thing that's pulling you, but along the journey, you're uncovering a lot of things about yourself, how much you're diligent with budgeting. So
Mm.
financially, maybe you don't have a budget. So now you're going to set a goal for yourself to say, I envision myself being a person that is a good steward of money. I envision
Mhm.
myself actually earning a lot of money, doing what I love and enjoying what I do and using my
Mm.
talents and my gifts. And I'm having a good and healthy life, because I want to
Yeah.
live in that mansion, because I have to walk up the stairs. And if I've got bad knees and I'm unhealthy, I can't do that, So I need to, yeah, so I've got to stay fit and looking good. Otherwise, I need to rebuild that mansion to be just a ranch style, one
Mm.
level without stairs, to bother me, so, or lift or something like that. So I think
Mm.
the power of vision is you can have so much fun with it, but
Mm.
it interconnects with the different facets of our lives that it now inspires us to become even more than what we think we are. And then once you achieve that, then there's a dream within that dream. So when I
Mm.
dreamt of being a manager, then there was a dream to become a manager of managers. I was like, oh, actually,
Mm.
I can,
Let's
take it to the next level. So within that dream, I was like, actually, I want to specialize in a senior global, maybe like a role that allows me to cover different countries. And I manage like a team for Middle East, Africa, and Turkey. So those are 9 countries. So you keep on, just uncovering so much more to your life. So
Mm.
don't stop. It's not static. Just keep on exploring what God has for you. And some things, I think also let's remember that, the pandemic reminded us that, yes, you might have the goal in mind, but
Mhm.
sometimes it can get delayed, with things
Yeah.
which are beyond your control, way beyond your control, which was the pandemic, right? Sometimes also, you might not be able to do it because of financial constraints, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're going to stay there. So then now it forces you to become creative in how you want to earn money. So there'll be disappointments in life, and they'll be let down. Someone will say, I'll be in business with you,
Mm.
and then they want to work with you, then they disappoint you. Maybe something happens that they can't fulfill that obligation, and now you're
Mhm.
stuck. So there will be disappointments, there will be delays, there will be some denial, maybe even rejections, maybe approvals that you're wanting and people just, reject your requests. But
Mhm.
just know that whatever the vision is, God will always make sure that it will come to pass. Because, there's this quote which says, in God's story, nothing ends in ashes. So he gives
Oh
us
wow.
beauty for our
Mm.
ashes. So whatever burns down, like when he was in marriage, said it burnt down, but none of us died with, in that fire. All of us were accounted for, including my ex, and the kids are okay. I'm okay. Yes, we had to heal, but the vision again was for me to be whole. the vision for what that God has for my life was for me to be happy in Him, for my children to be happy in Him, for my ex to be happy in Him, for his family to be happy in Him. So at the end of the day, God's ultimate goal is always accomplished. So no matter who you're with, whether you're single, with someone, you're still in God's eyes. He still has great dreams for you, and He's got a great vision over your life, and He wants to see it fulfilled. So let's just live life to the full, and have a go.
Definitely. Yeah, but I just loved how you illustrated how one goal or one vision that you have can sort of like trigger all these positive things in your life. Now you're looking at your career. How can I expand my career? Like my finances, how can I make them better? My health, how can I make that better? So that is just beautiful how, having one specific thing can sort of like spill over into other areas where holistically you become a better person. So I think that's a very beautiful thing. So I want us to discuss in terms of which areas of our lives should we strive to have a vision in, because I remember attending one of your sessions and then we had like different blocks, like, oh, career and this and this and that. So can you just briefly tell people which areas to sort of like focus in on?
Sure. So I always think, our life is like a blank canvas, and, we can have all the ideas jumbled up, but it's good to categorize them and put them in blocks. And that's where the 8 blocks come in. And some people have done it like as a wheel of life. So it comes in different formats. I like the dashboard view because then it's a little bit, looking back at me and saying, okay, these are all the areas. And so I normally 8 quadrants, and the first one can be finances. What are your financial goals? How are you going to manage your money? How much money do you want to make? And how are you going to use that money? So that can go under the area for finances. Even retirement, what do you look like when you're in your 80s, and how are you going to live? So financially, what can I do now to start saving to enjoy that kind of lifestyle? And you can also put your immediate goals as well under finances to say immediately now, what do I need to do to get to where I want to be? So a goal can be, I need to review my bank statement. I need to know where my money is going and have a budget. So that could be under financial goals. Then the next section could be relationships. So relationship goals are, about family, it could be romantic, it could be business relationships. And then the next goal can be under your career and business. So what kind of job that you aspire to have, what kind of businesses you want to have on the side, and maybe end up making that full time. And then another area can be your learning and development. So learning and development can be your, education, which covers maybe a degree that you want to have. You want to be have a doctorate in something, a master's, maybe your first degree, or just a diploma to help solidify maybe the career path that you're on. And then the next one can be your health and wellness. So how well you want to be. So I try to ask people to just think through their mental wellness, think about your physical wellness, your emotional wellness. Where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself more fit? Do you see yourself, more active? Personally, I don't like going to the gym. So one of the things that I put down was I need to walk more and be more active and drink more water. So those were my goals. And so they're not amazing and cool and exciting, but they actually do help and make a difference in what I'm doing. So the more I'm walking, maybe I end up joining a group of, people that do walk, and they do walk at different parks, and they rotate which parks they go to. So now I'm exploring, the nice, beautiful areas that I might be. Then the next area could be also your community service, which includes your charity or volunteering. Because like we said before, it's important for you to give off yourself as well. And it's
Yeah.
not just about you acquiring things. And that could be a church, that could be, in your, maybe at an animal shelter, whatever makes you happy. And
Mhm.
then spirituality is another area, which is really concerning your spirit being, whether it's your
Yeah.
faith, prayer, reading your Bible, and just growing more closer to God. And then the last one is about fun and travel.
Mhm.
So fun and travel, we all want to go somewhere, want to do something fun.
Yes.
So yeah, so where do you want to go to? So the pandemic obviously told us like you can't go nowhere. You better sit down.
Going to your
And
house.
we put your mask on and
Yeah.
sanitize your hands. And it was hard for many people. I had so many goals, like the travel. I had Italy on my plan at that time, and I was like, yeah. And that just made everything change. But the
Mhm.
good thing about it is Italy is still there waiting for me. It'll always
Yes.
be there for the next 10 years, 20 years. So even if it doesn't happen today, but it's something that I definitely have on my bucket list. So
Mm.
those are the different areas. And then I've started doing things beyond that as well, Paul. So because I'm turning 48 this year, so I'm making a list.
Unbelievable.
So I'm making a bucket list of 48 things that I want to do this year. Just
Mm.
fun, fun things, 48. So things like I want to ride a Harley Davidson bike. So
Oh,
I might
wow.
be sitting behind somebody. I'm not the one driving it, but I just want to get on it and just take a spin. That's
Mhm.
something I just, so it's nothing life changing, but it's part of my fun bucket.
Mm.
And then I've got a little notebook as well, which I put the project for like there's a home project that I want to do for my mom. And
Mm.
so I started like putting pictures of
Oh,
her
wow.
fixing up her place, like her closets and her
Looks
routine.
so good.
So it's a little book, so which I said, okay, this will be my little dream book. Besides that, I've got this is not, I'm doing a digital one, but this is just
Mm.
an illustrative one.
Okay.
So it's not so clear, but you can be as creative as you want to be. So I put like
Mm.
jigsaw puzzles on there and put the
Yeah, yeah.
project. And so, yeah, I want to go to the beach more.
Yes.
And yeah,
Stress-free living. Take it
there you go.
easy.
I want to smell nice. I'll put perfume over there.
Mhm.
So, so yeah, so I put it also in sections. And I love to put the clock there. I don't know if you see the clock. No, there's a gears, like different gears.
Mhm.
Um, so different things will represent different, metaphors for you.
Yeah.
So one of the things I always say, try to have a clock on your vision board because it reminds you the importance of time, not to waste opportunities, and know that God has given all of us time and a chance
Yeah.
to achieve what we need to. So like
Mm.
if I'm studying and I waste my time and not study, come exam time, I'm not going to perform well, right? Because I didn't
Yes.
use my time wisely. So I think, the year that we have, it goes by so fast. So let's
Mm.
maximize the time that we have to live out the dreams that God has about us and for us, and
Yeah.
to just enjoy life to the full, but also impacting others and
Mm.
helping others, win in life as you're winning in life as well.
Yeah. And I think also, especially like, I think this is one of the things that COVID has showed a lot of us, the fact that like you need to live out your dreams, you don't have to wait for people to come and tell you and say, that dream that you've always wanted, I'm gonna fund it. We need to just go out there and do things that make us happy and, and envision it and live it. So I think we should start living.
Yeah,
And vision.
absolutely. There was this, apparently there was a lady, not apparently, but there's an author, she was a nurse, and she
Mm-hmm.
wrote a book about, things that people regret. And she, when people were dying, she was one of those nurses who would be there when someone is dying. So
Mm.
she was just saying people on their dying bed, a lot of them, most of them, out of the regrets that they had, was
Oh,
about
wow.
stuff that they didn't do. Most of
Oh,
them hardly regretted anything that they did and was a bit, like an epic fail or whatever. But what they didn't do, something that they wanted to do but never did. They always regretted that. So I wish I'd made more memories with my family. I wish I'd laughed more and I wasn't too serious. I wish I had gone on that, on that trip with, for work, or I wish I had. So I think even with having a vision allows you to say, let's keep doing what we're called to. And many times when people get down and then they are in discord with themselves and in discord in relationship, it's also because whatever you had agreed to be the original vision, that other person doesn't see it anymore that way. Remember, they've changed their mindset. They don't see happily ever after with the other person. So their vision is no longer the same with you. So it's disconnected. So even for yourself, when you're feeling sorry for yourself, it's because you don't have a vision of yourself as a victor, as a conqueror, as a person that's empowered. And that's when we lose vision, when we start going down. And then that's when we don't see the future. And the definition of vision actually says to plan creatively with wisdom, right?
Oh, wow.
Which is such a cool definition. Because it gives you like 3 different definitions, but one of them is actually to say to plan clearly and creatively with wisdom. I was like, wow. Okay, so what can we do that with our lives, and just know that even if we fail, so I think even if we fail, it's a lesson learned to say, okay, when I do it again, I'm doing it from a place where I'm more empowered with more knowledge, with more experience. And this year also for vision, I always give myself a theme word for my vision year. So last year was more than enough. And that helped me a lot with my stance concerning my own personal beliefs about myself, that I am enough, because I think we're bombarded with that. And also to lean on God, who is more than enough, who's the God of more than enough. And then, so this year, my theme word is living in abundance. And and when you find a theme word or phrase for the year, it always anchors you. It allows you to say, the mindset I need to have is this. It's flint life, and because when you want to waver, when you start feeling like, that spirit of scarcity and poverty mentality, when you start thinking there's not enough, I better not rejoice when Mpho is succeeding, because then that takes the shine from you. That's just, that's, but if I cheer her on and I'm like, yeah, girl, shine and keep going, that means that we know that it's from a space of abundance. There's more from where it's coming from. So I think then we'll all be knowing that we just need to run our race in our own lane, and knowing that God has more than enough provision for all of us. So I think for me, living in abundance is definitely something that I know that I'm starting to experiencing it already, with is just, even if I want to limit God, God is saying, don't limit me. I'm a God of abundance. And that scripture says that I came that you might have life, and that you might have it more abundantly. So like, oh, okay, we're going to do this life thing, with more abundance.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Becca. I don't want to add more, because I feel like you ended so beautifully. And I know definitely everyone that's going to watch this is going to be impacted, and I will have it forever. So I will rewatch it, but I think you gave us a lot of tools, and I love that it's very practical and it's very personable. And thank you so much for joining me. And I can't wait to see you living your best abundant life. I'll be there cheering you on.
Yeah, I'm cheering you on too. Thank you so much. And all the best with everything that you're doing, creating this platform to encourage people and just to share. I always say everyday people sharing everyday stories, but knowing how they're doing their life journey is so helpful. It's helped me when I listen to other people as well. That's how I've been able to make it this far in my life as well. And just, through prayer and God, but we need each other. And so thanks for creating this.
All right, thanks, Becca.